friends, Miss Kristi here, and I am so excited to be together again cooking in the kitchen. Today we are learning how to make a simple air fryer broccoli. This snack, or maybe have it as a side dish to a meal, uses only 3 main ingredients and cooks in the air fryer for just 10 minutes. We're gonna have fun making this together today, and I'm so glad you're here.
All is calm and all is bright.
Now, the first step to cooking and working in the kitchen is to wash our hands. While I wash my hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds, let's go over the ingredients and supplies that you'll need to gather to cook along today. The ingredients you'll need are 1 12-ounce package of broccoli, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 teaspoon salt, and half a teaspoon of pepper. The supplies you'll need are 1 sheet of tin foil, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, half a teaspoon, and a butter knife. Okay, great. Your hands are clean and my hands are clean. We've gathered our ingredients and supplies, so let's get started making our simple air fryer broccoli. So like I said, this is just a great small snack, or maybe have it as a side dish to a meal. It only takes 10 minutes in our air fryer. So we do have to have an air fryer today to use this, to do this recipe and to follow along, because that's where this will cook. The first step we're going to do is just take your sheet of tin foil and place it right in front of you. That's where we're gonna put the broccoli, that's where we're gonna work on top of, so we're gonna have this right in front of you, and then we're gonna grab our butter. So we need 1 tablespoon of butter. So I'm gonna grab my tablespoon, it says 1 tbsp. This is the biggest one that we're using today, because I'm gonna measure out a tablespoon of butter. Now, as I always say, if you have a stick of butter that has the pre-measured lines, you're just gonna cut off 1 tablespoon of butter, but because I don't, and maybe you have a tub, we're going to measure a tablespoon of butter. So I'm gonna grab my 1 tablespoon, and I'm gonna grab my butter knife that was in the supply list to measure out 1 tablespoon of butter. So I'm just gonna get it in here. Like I said, the stick of butter is a little bit easier because you can just cut off at the line to make a tablespoon, but if you don't have that and you have a tub, or you wanna measure it like this is always an option to get a tablespoon of butter. All right, so I'm just gonna get this in here. Just carefully. If your butter's a little cold, it'll take a little bit of extra effort, but we just want about a tablespoon of butter. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are just putting this in our air fryer and it's just flavoring up our broccoli a little bit. So if you get a little bit more, a little bit less, it's not a huge deal. It's not like we're baking anything, which takes a little bit more precise measurements. This, we just need about a tablespoon of butter. So I have my tablespoon, I'm gonna put the rest to the side. Now all I'm gonna do from here is pop it onto my tin foil. Keep this because we're gonna use this for the olive oil. And now I'm just going to cut a couple little chunks. So if you have a stick of butter and you cut off a tablespoon, you just wanna take your butter knife and cut small chunks and just spread them out a little bit. This is the bottom of our tin foil. And our broccoli is gonna sit on top of it. It's gonna make this yummy little olive oil and butter sauce that our broccoli is going to cook in the air fryer. Be a little bit careful when you're cutting your butter. You don't want to put big holes in your broccoli because that's going to keep our tiny little sauce here that we're making inside the tin foil. But as long as you have a couple chunks of butter around your tin foil in the middle, that's what we are looking for. All right, the next thing we're going to do is just put our broccoli on top of here. So I'm going to put my butter knife away. I no longer need that. And grab your bag of broccoli. So this is just a 12-ounce bag of ready to eat broccoli. So it's pre-washed. All I did was cut the top off. It's about 12 ounces. So I'm just gonna pour this right on top of my butter because it's already washed and ready to go. The best that you can. And I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. I've got clean hands, which is why we always start by washing our hands. And I just want to spread this out on top of my butter. We're gonna end up folding this up a little bit. So you don't want to spread it around the whole thing, and you'll see, but I'm keeping it in a little mound in the middle. I'm just gonna pull up the edges because we're about to pour some olive oil on here and I don't want it to run off. So I'm just pulling up the edges a bit. Luckily, tin foil is easy to crease, so you can make a little crease and it'll stay where it needs to. Now we're going to do our tablespoon of olive oil. So I'm gonna grab the same tablespoon that I used for the butter. If you happen to have a stick and didn't use this, you're gonna grab your 1 tablespoon, it says 1 tbsp, and your olive oil. Now, if you have avocado oil or a different type of cooking oil that you like to use, by all means, you can do that. I have olive oil in my pantry, so that's what I'm gonna use today. Again, it just helps flavor the broccoli a little bit more, helps our salt and pepper stick to it a bit. So I'm just going to take my tablespoon and I'm going to drizzle it over my broccoli. And if you make this and you decide next time you want to use more oil, you want to use less oil, same thing with the butter. When you cook for yourself in the kitchen and you try it a couple times, these are the choices that you can make and the decisions that you get to make for yourself. But for now, we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of olive oil that I just drizzled around. It will soak into the broccoli. A little bit will go on the bottom along with that butter, and it just makes this really tasty little sauce. Now you can put the tablespoon to the side because we are done with that, and you can put your olive oil to the side. We are done with that. And now we just have to flavor this with salt and pepper. Like I said, there's 3 main ingredients in there plus a little salt and pepper. So I'm gonna grab my salt and I'm gonna grab my 1 teaspoon. So this one says 1 TSP. I'm going to measure out a teaspoon of salt, which sounds like a lot, but we have a lot of broccoli here, and broccoli doesn't have a ton of flavor. So we in our house like to salt it a little bit. I'm just sprinkling this all over. And if, again, with this recipe, if you find out it's too much salt or it's not enough salt, you can always add a little bit more. But I'm just sprinkling on my tablespoon of salt right on top. You can put your tablespoon to the side when you're done with that and your salt. And now we just need to do our half a teaspoon of pepper. So I'm gonna grab my 1/2 teaspoon. It says 1/2 TSP. And I'm going to grab my pepper. And same thing, if you don't like pepper, you're not a huge fan of it, you can skip this part. Just giving it a little bit more flavor, and I'm gonna sprinkle on my 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. All over, the best you can. Sometimes it helps if you tap the side. Sometimes a little bit comes out, a lot of it comes out. Just wanna get it all over our broccoli. All right, you can put this to the side, we're done. This is ready to go in our air fryer, so you can put your pepper away. And now from here, all I'm going to do is fold this up a little bit to make like a little cubby for it. So, just going to, the best I can, get it somewhat closed. It doesn't have to be perfect, it will open up in the air fryer, but I just want it to fit in my basket and create a little container for my broccoli to cook in. And then when we take it out, we give it a little bit of a shake and rub it around so that butter distributes. But from here, we got it packed in. I'm going to put it in the air fryer. So all I'm going to do is plug in my air fryer, step 1. And this is going to cook at 400 degrees for just 10 minutes. We don't have to take it out in between. We let it cook the whole 10 minutes, and then we take it out and we let it cool for a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is take this, pop out my basket. It's not hot because we haven't cooked anything. Put this right in. You can open it up if you want a little bit. We just want all that juice at the bottom from the butter to stay in. You can kind of see it's packed in there a little bit. And now I'm just going to set a 10-minute timer for my air fryer and let this cook for 10 minutes. And once it's done, we'll talk about getting it out safely and giving it a try. So 10 minutes at 400 degrees. Here we go. Okay, friends, this is exciting. So my air fryer just turned off, so that means our 10 minutes is up, and all I'm going to do now is carefully take out the basket and set it on a protected surface. So I can put mine on my cutting board. Maybe you need a pot holder. I'm gonna unplug my air fryer because we are now done with that, and I'm just gonna take the handle, not touching the basket because it's very hot, and I wanna let this cool for 2 minutes. We basically just need to be able to pick up the tin foil, so we're giving the tin foil a chance to cool down. So let this cool for 2 minutes, and then we'll take it out and talk about trying it. All right, friends, so this is cooled for just about 2 minutes. Like I said before, we just want to give the tin foil a chance to cool down so that we can take it out. I'm still not going to touch the basket of my air fryer, so very carefully, I'm just taking my tin foil on either side, going to lift this out and set it down on my cutting board. You can put your basket back in your air fryer, let that cool some more. And all I'm gonna do now is just close this up a little bit. Now that the broccoli has cooked, it's shrinked down a little bit, so we've got some more room in there, and I'm just gonna give it like a little shake, rub it a little bit. That way, that butter and that olive oil gets over all of the broccoli, in case we missed any, which is why it's nice to cook it in this little pod. Kind of just rubbing it around. But now you can see that our air fryer has cooked our broccoli. So some pieces get a little bit crispy, which is fun because I like a little bit of a crispy broccoli. Some pieces are still gonna be just soft and not cooked as much. So this is just a really fun way to cook broccoli, and it's super simple. We just popped it in there for 10 minutes, put a little olive oil and butter, salt and pepper, and now we have this great snack or side dish to a meal that we have learned to make for ourselves. And you can just pop it in a bowl, or you can just eat it right out of here once your tinfoil's cooled down. That's the nice part too, that it's already ready to go. So I do hope you try and make it, or try and make it again. And when you do, let me know how it goes. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. You can even send me a picture of how your air fryer broccoli turned out. I'd love to get to see it, and maybe we can share it next week. Now, speaking of next week, on next week's episode, which is episode 76, we are learning how to make a microwave breakfast scramble. This quick breakfast uses just 4 main ingredients plus a little salt and pepper, and only cooks in our microwave for 2 minutes. In order to cook along and make our microwave breakfast scramble, these are the ingredients that you'll need to have in your kitchen for next week. 1 cup of cooked or microwave ready rice, 2 fully cooked breakfast patties, 1 egg, 1/4 cup of shredded cheese, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Well, friends, our time together today is almost over. I do hope you've enjoyed learning how to make our simple air fryer broccoli. I know I had fun, and I already can't wait to cook together again next time. But before you say goodbye to this episode, make sure to click subscribe if you haven't already. You just have to click the little picture of me in the corner. That way you don't miss next week's episode. It'll be out on Friday, and I'll see you then. Bye, friends. It's time to eat.